I'm very excited about today's session. It's being led by Cheyenne Sky Lacey. I'm sorry, Cheyenne, if I messed that up. I see Cheyenne Sky and Cheyenne Lacey is the CEO and founder of Hosta Management, which is an integrated digital strategy firm that she established in 2020. Cheyenne is a Diné entrepreneur, currently based in New Mexico, Santa Fe, and she holds an advanced degree from the Fashion Institute of Technology and Harvard University. Her commitment is supporting Native entrepreneurs shine through her work as she develops her and helps businesses within the Native communities and beyond to thrive and through strategic branding and digital presence. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry, Cheyenne. So today's workshop will be focusing on helping businesses make the most of the holiday season through effective social media strategies. I will let Cheyenne go over her schedule of everything. Cheyenne, I will turn the time over to you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Admitting people as they come in. So thank you all for spending time with me today. Okay. So yat kwasina she Cheyenne Lacey nishe hashklishni nishle bilagana bashishchin tachitni jashiche bilagana dashanilla. That's who I am as a Navajo person. Did my traditional introductions for those who don't speak Navajo. But today we are going to be discussing boosting holiday sales with social media. I have been working in the social media and marketing sphere for at least 9 years now. If you don't consider like just using Instagram and Facebook and all of those social media things as a personal, in my personal time as part of my education and background in social media. But professionally, 9 years. Most of my knowledge is from the fashion, art, and small business space. I did have a small stint with like really big fashion conglomerate level marketing, but I often find that small businesses get a lot better engagement, more quality engagement, because oftentimes people feel directly connected with you as business owners. So again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here and learn about social media. Every year, the holiday season seems to kind of like sneak up on us, and we're suddenly like, oh yeah, I didn't think about running an ad for, Thanksgiving, and now it's Native American Heritage Month, and maybe, there's some opportunities that could arise from that. So today we're going to go through 6 topics. The first is some statistics about the power of social media in driving holiday sales. The second is some advice on how to prepare for the holiday season. And then we're going to go in depth into some specific content strategies that myself and I should have introduced her earlier, my team member Nati, have compiled from the community that we've really found some inspiration from. And then we're going to go through the right platforms, like a little bit about each, and then kind of just an overview of just the effective steps for gaining and then retaining your customers on social media. And then we can open it up for questions. But if you guys have questions or insights along the way, definitely let me know if I'm going too fast or anything. On the right, we have this cute setup that I had invested in. It was like $150 on Amazon for this mobile photography setup, and then of course the cost of the camera, but you can use your smartphone. That's definitely something I would suggest investing in if you are a jeweler, or like this person is a sculptor, or you have small products. I've used this for many clients and it comes in handy in more ways than one. And if I'm not mistaken, Change Labs might have some resources, or at least space for you to take some really aesthetic photos for your Instagram. So the power of social media in driving holiday sales. 34% of shoppers plan to use social media. And I would say that's definitely true for myself. I see Instagram and Facebook ads and I get inspiration and ideas for what to buy my family for holidays, the holidays. And whenever I see a native ad, which is very rare, I'm even more inclined to like learn more about the business because I see that they're investing into a strategy. So a survey revealed that in 2023, approximately 34% of shoppers plan to use social media platforms to search for or purchase holiday products. As I said, social media is a source of inspiration. In a 2021 survey, 70% of US customers reported using at least one social network for holiday shopping inspiration, with this usage providing particularly strong among younger generations of shoppers. So, of course, I'm 28, so using Instagram and things like that came very naturally to me, especially for shopping. But I would say for my parents, it was a little bit different story. Now they've come around to it and they buy things, and, they'll give me a gift and they're like, oh, I saw it on Facebook, which, it's definitely showing there's a growing trend that it's not just younger shoppers now. It's penetrating into older generations as well. And using social media isn't just useful during the holiday season. In 2021, an estimated 32% of US internet users engaged in social media shopping, which translates to about 90 million people buying on at least one of these platforms. So that's kind of the scope of what we're going for. We know people use social media for shopping, especially for inspiration. And there's about 90 million people that you could potentially have as your audience. Then you start to refine down from there. So here are our tips for preparing for the holiday season. And I have some examples as we go along here, so I'll be switching between the screens. The first is setting goals. And you'll want to determine specific goals that can be increasing your sales, increasing your brand awareness, or just gaining more engagement from your customers. The way to measure that is something called a KPI, or a key performance indicator, which that is about as technical as we're going to get in today's discussion. So this refers to the reach or engagement, or the people who actually end up buying from a post or something like that. And you want to make sure these are realistic and trackable within the time period of the holiday season, because that'll be like your first campaign. And then you can see, okay, before I was doing, these kind of numbers, and then after putting in all this effort, this was the result. And in order to do that, my biggest suggestion, now of course I can't find it. There it is to use the internal tools on the platforms that you already use. And I'm just assuming most people will probably have a Facebook page or an Instagram page. And that's all run by Meta. So Meta has this thing called the Meta Business Suite. And it has, they have a lot of resources for you to learn about performance indicators. And they won't use the word KPI because, like I said, it's kind of technical. But yeah, you post things, you need to see how they perform. And the manual way of doing that is just going and tracking it yourself and writing everything down. But that can be very tedious when we have tools like this built into the system. This is kind of what the interface looks like. And Facebook will literally walk you through the process of setting these goals. They'll say, do you want to boost your audience? Do you want to get more sales? Do you want to, increase engagement? Those are kind of the main three. And engagement refers to like people liking your post, sharing it, commenting on it, things like that. So you establish your goals, and then they give you some suggestions on things that you can do to achieve those goals. And then you can kind of see day by day what the reach is, and that's how many people are actually seeing your post or how many people are engaging with it, things like that. It has this really nice interface that you can use. And in this page in particular, they give you like an overview of exactly kind of all the different pages that you're going to see. And we use a version of this with our clients to help them understand that when they make an investment into social media and hiring a team like mine, that they're actually getting something out of it. So we have certain goals that we want to reach. And in order to do that, we have to track certain things. So this is a very powerful tool. It will be a little intimidating at first, not gonna lie, but if you have any questions, I'm definitely available to answer questions. You can review this video once it's posted on YouTube, and you can review what's actually available via Facebook, which is how Nati and I learned how to do all of this. Because in advertising and marketing school, you would think they'd be very specific in teaching you how to use the platforms that you eventually are going to use, but it's more about the concepts. So it's all about trial and error once you get into launching your first marketing campaign. Then you're going to want to make sure you optimize your profile. So you want to make sure you have your logo or some branded elements of it, have an idea of how you want your brand to look, and you can refine it as you go along, but making sure that your bio is accurate, the links work, your highlights and stuff are current, I would say. And then you can use like really nice graphics and visuals to make it look very professional. So I have an example here of a page I manage, which is the Santa Fe Indian Market, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, things like that. And as you can see, we have a really nice banner that showcases the crowds that come to Indian Market, which we're so famous for. I loved this photo of a young woman who is, I think she was winning an award. This was before my time of working with the organization, but it just speaks to like the next generation of young artists that we're trying to encourage and nurture in their careers. And then, a little celebrity moment, we had Taboo come. So of course, I'm going to try to choose a really cool, fun, engaging photo of him dancing. And we have 2 other community members there who are hoop dancers. And he's a hoop dancer and he's a singer. So yeah, and then we have, all of this was made on Canva, by the way. Before this, we had just some regular photo and it kind of wasn't cropped right and stuff. So this was part of the optimizing phase for me. I made sure to also have the mission right here of the organization. And just to show what this looks like on Instagram, it's the same thing. We don't have a banner to work with, but made sure that the logo was there. And in place of the banner, I made a post about like, what does this Y logo mean? And it did pretty well. It got pretty good engagement. I have like a shortened version of the mission there, upcoming events, and then our link tree, which is another tool that you might be interested in investing in. I think it's like $5 a month or so. It's just a bunch of links and you can make it look very organized and nice, but these are the most relevant links right now. And then you can learn about the organization here and read all of our recent coverage there, which I try to keep very up to date and rank it kind of by what will catch people's attention most, which I thought maybe Forbes was a cool one. So yeah, there's no like real science to it. It's kind of just thinking like, okay, what would catch people's attention? And provide, information about your business, because it can, obviously this is a nonprofit and they have like a real need to communicate what their mission and vision is, but it's no different for a small business. Then you'll want to develop a content calendar. So you'll want to try to plan. We try to plan at least a month in advance, but have like key dates set for the next 2 to 3 months. That way we're not overwhelmed with making content every single day. We try to prepare and have those things scheduled so that they go out, when they're supposed to, and it reduces stress on our end. Especially managing as many accounts as we do, we have to really have a good line of communication with the client and with myself and Nati about how we're going to deploy all of this content. So we'll go through that a little bit. You're going to want to include a mix of content, not just one type of post every single time. You'll want some promotional posts, user-generated content, behind the scenes, things that, are storytelling. And the most important thing about this is frequency and timing. So when is your audience online? probably posting in the morning to afternoon might be more beneficial, and you might have more people's eyes on it than posting later in the evening. But you can mess with it and see what works best for you. You definitely don't have to post every day, but having a goal of like 3 times a week or something like that would be beneficial. So this is kind of the volume at which we're posting. This is a platform that we use and invest in called SEMrush. It's very high level, very technical, a lot of analytics, but I loved this particular page so you can see how it's organic in how we're posting. Like, it's between myself, Nati, and the Change Labs team. So we have certain days assigned to our team. And then, as you can see, like, filling in the gaps and getting out the information when it needs to be there. The majority of that is done by the Change Labs team. And the first freebie I have for you today, actually, this was prepared by Nati on our team, is a social media calendar, and it's glitching for some reason. So this is a blank template of something that we use with Change Labs to achieve this level of posting. We have, you can put your logo here to make it look nice. And we have this preloaded for you for November and December with key dates already outlined. We have the status, so you can track if something is not started, if it's in progress, drafted, needs edits, scheduled, or once it's posted, you're monitoring it now. You could have a link to the image. When you make it on Canva, you could put the link there. That way it's easily accessible. You can write, which platforms that you're going to post it on. You could even put what time, and you could put your caption here, your hashtag there, and then any internal tags if you want to say like this is a promotion or this is a carousel or a reel or something like that. That can be helpful to just quick reference like that. After it's posted, you could even put a link here to the post so that you kind of have a different view of your social media, like posting frequency. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is kind of a high-level overview of the dates that are already loaded into the social media management template that we made for you. We have right now Native American Heritage Month. It began at the start of of November. So you're here now, and you can start planning your holiday content strategy today, like after we get off this call, because what's coming up next is Thanksgiving. And a lot of people have, time with their families. They'll be on their phones. That's a perfect time to run some ads or to do some posting for the holidays. Immediately following that is National American Indian Heritage Day and Black Friday. So what a perfect way to use, or opportunity to use, the hashtag support Native business or hashtag, Black Friday sales, something like that. Then you have Small Business Day, Cyber Monday, and Christmas. So if we go back here, we have one kind of just example here, but if you scroll down, you have Thanksgiving, National American Indian Heritage Day, Small Business Day, Cyber Monday. And then I added this one, which was the last day for USPS guaranteed shipping by Christmas, which could really provoke people to buy it right then and there. If they had any hesitation, then saying like, this is the last day you can get it if you want it by Christmas, like that's a great post to make. Then actual Christmas Day, I like to think that, people like to show gratitude on this day and just say thank you to their customers, or, happy holidays, something like that would be kind of nice to do. So that's all loaded up for you guys. I'll go into like how to access these resources too at the end of the presentation, because now is the fun part. We'll go through the actual content strategies. Yeah, so the first one is holiday offerings. We have an example here from Najoni Soaps, 25% off online and in store, and it's a Small Business Saturday post. If we look at it, they don't show how many likes and stuff they get, but usually their posts do pretty well. They have 30,000 followers, so they're making content consistently and a good mix of content. So that's one that you can look at. Then we have user-generated content. This one is something we found by the New Native Kitchen. Basically, this is a photo that someone took after they made something from one of the cookbook recipes, which is fantastic. Obviously, it looks delicious, and now I want to buy that book. Then this is something we made for Change Labs for Mother's Day, which people really seem to appreciate because finding gifts for your mom is really important for Mother's Day, and finding authentic indigenous made goods that like actually give back to the community really makes more of a difference. So people really enjoyed this post. And basically, yeah, we have Nijoni soaps again, an 8th generation postcard pack. This is like a roller aromatherapy thing. There's that book. And then these are like things that you can put on your fingernails for instead of like painting them, and a nice t-shirt with a matriarch on it, and she's resting. So people who make these kinds of posts, if you've seen them before and you have products that you would like to suggest for them, usually they're not gonna be like, no, I don't want to use your product. Usually they're looking for more things to feature. And like myself, if anyone would reach out to me and say, hey, I have these products, if you want to include it in a gift guide or something like that, that's a really, great way to get your products featured. And you get the cross pollination of being tagged with other like really well established brands like OXDX and Nijoni soaps, for example. It builds your brand awareness and credibility, and yeah, just being included in things like this and having all the tags there does a lot for engagement. Then we have giveaways. Giveaways are really fun to run. They're very high energy, but also you need to monitor them very closely and think about the approach in depth before launching a giveaway. Some states, depending on where you are, might have some legal considerations and before you like actually start the giveaway. But here in New Mexico, if you have something under $600, it's pretty easy to just run a simple giveaway. And this is from my page, Hodza Management. Before we were a marketing firm, we were a different form of marketing firm where I mostly ran a photo studio and helped people with events and branding as they came in as clients for the photo studio. So every time we would reach a certain number of followers, like in this case, it's 600 followers, we would do a giveaway for a free 2-hour booking, which was like a $200 value. But really, like, I wanted more clients, I wanted more engagement, I wanted more people to know about my business. So that was the real goal. And the way I set it up was you had to follow my photo studio, which was called Blank Canvas. You had to tag a friend in the comments. So I wanted people to spam the comments with like tags. One comment was one entry, so one tag per comment, stuff like that. I was having, I think on this one we can see. I mean, yeah, a lot of engagement on this post. Oops. And I got a lot of business from it because people would find out about my photo studio, and if they didn't win the giveaway, they would actually just book a session because it wasn't that expensive considering some photo sessions or photo studios can cost a lot more to rent. So yeah, we could keep going for a long time. That's a really great strategy to get a lot of comments and engagement on your post. And then as a bonus entry, people shared it to their story, which got even more visibility on it. And then the fine print of it all was that you had to be in the US and there was no purchase necessary, that kind of thing. And I would just run these for 24 hours, and that's what we got in 24 hours. So 85 likes and then hundreds of comments for a page that only had 600 followers. And we grew it pretty fast using this method. So highly recommend it. Next is photo challenges. This is another great way to increase engagement. So take a selfie with your shirt and you can be tagged in this cool customer appreciation post. I love that idea. It is somewhat similar to the just user-generated content idea, but it has a few extra steps where you're reviewing applications sort of to be a part of this. And if you have enough followers, it can be really fun. A brand like OXDX could do this. This brand is doing it. Let's see how many followers they have. So 308 likes. I'm sure there's like tons of engagement on the post. 44,000 followers. So they definitely have enough people to engage to do this, but you can't really know until you try. And like I said, we only had 600 followers, and that's what we were able to achieve in terms of like audience engagement as like such a small account. It just depends on knowing your audience and what would be interesting to them. Next is a Christmas video. So at Swaya, right before I started, they did a raffle of this incredible tree with so many donated items from Swaya artists, like globes and clay, ornaments. And there's this really beautiful angel on top. And to announce the winner, they went live on Instagram. And I don't think we can skip forward, but you can imagine they did a little preamble about, hi, we're Swaya, sort of like what happened today, where you get an overview of the company or the business, and then they, get right into it. So it's a really fun way to engage people. When it was actually running, there was a whole bunch of comments and hearts and obviously 800 views. So it did pretty well. It was pretty fun to watch them do this too. Another thing you could consider is tutorials. The Fancy Navajo, I absolutely adore her whole brand aesthetic, everything she does. She's a really nice person, and she makes really helpful content for like a Navajo audience, which I thought was, so refreshing, honestly, when I first found her account. So those Christmas goodie bags that we all get at Christmas time, sometimes you feel nostalgic for them and you want to know how to make them. She has a tutorial on that. She really understands that her audience is probably mostly urban natives who would kind of want that nostalgia hit of, yeah, I remember my grandma would give me these or something, great post. The next one is a shipping process or behind the scenes or some kind of unboxing. I love watching these videos. They're so like fast, and sometimes they're ASMR, which is like that sound thing, that sound trend. Basically, it gives you like tingles on your spine because it sounds like really interesting when you put on headphones. This one is not that. It's just a fun, fast-paced video. This is a Native woman-owned lingerie brand, and they're doing like a pack and order with me post. So it's kind of stop motion. Oh, I might be a robot. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. So it's kind of stop motion. They fold up all the products and put it in their packaging, which they have great packaging, and probably some upbeat music, and boom, it's done. So fun. I love that one. Okay. So that was just a survey of some of the things that you can do. You will ultimately know your audience best. And if you don't quite know them yet, you'll get to know them through the content that you post and what they interact with. And it'll start to become second nature if you really invest some time in doing, this whole social media thing. So I have this slide, which can be pretty dense, which leads into my next point. But the main takeaway from this is, or I guess I'll just let you know. The second freebie for this workshop is a really extensive list of all the different platforms and some ideas of what you can do on each platform. It would be kind of too dense to go into right now. But an example I wanted to show you was a post that we did for Change Labs. And of course, it just disappeared. Recently, they were featured in the New York Times, and that being so prestigious and well known, we thought across the board, it's gonna totally, outperform all of our other posts on every platform. But this is where it performed the least well, which was surprising. We have the same caption and the same imagery on each of these posts that I'm about to show you. But this one only received 35 likes and 9 shares, which is about average for us. And then on Instagram, we were, pleased that we got, I think it was 150. I can't see it. Yeah, like about 150 likes on it. Same post, same article. But LinkedIn, however, got 255 likes, 33 comments, 31 reposts. So it just goes to show that like you might have an assumption of how the different platforms work and how they interact, but ultimately there is an algorithm that is a black box that none of us know how it works. And then secondly, the people who use different platforms are slightly different. LinkedIn is obviously very business oriented. They're going to think the world of New York Times and really understand what a huge achievement it is to be featured like this. Whereas people on Instagram, this was actually really well performing for us, but not as high performing as we like expected. Because let's see, for an example, who are your favorite Indigenous photographers got about as many likes just because we have something where the community is more involved in it and they're more engaged. So we're featuring photographers and they're sharing it to their stories and suggesting other photographers in the comments and things like that, right? So things that perform well on Facebook are community events. So you can go on Saturday, October 19th to Change Labs, at this time. And these are all the fun things that we're going to have going on there. People loved it because most of the people who follow Change Labs on Facebook are community members, like many of you here on the call. And this is like super relevant to like you and your life pretty much. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about that. Just to briefly go through them. Facebook has a really incredible ads platform, and you can tailor those ads based on different demographics or interests or behaviors. So if you're a jeweler and you make jewelry that is an easy clasp, that's one of my clients. He has an easy clasp style of jewelry. That's perfect for older women who have arthritis in their hands. And that's what he designed it for, was for his mom who has that exact problem. And this is a solution for women who want to wear jewelry, but not necessarily, can't handle the clasps and stuff like that. So I suggested he go on Facebook because it's a little bit older demographic, use Facebook ads to kind of match whoever's already following him and then serve it to other people who fit that older demographic and maybe they are looking at arthritis type products. There's also shop features. So if you don't have a full-on website where people can buy products from you directly, you can set up a shop on either Facebook or Instagram, actually. A little bit about Instagram is photos reigns supreme on Instagram. You're definitely gonna wanna try to make it look very aesthetic, choose the best photos, play around with graphics, like trying to make different layouts of certain things. One interesting graphic I can show you that we've worked on recently is this one, Native American Heritage Month. And you can see we featured many photos in one photo using Canva. And then we kind of went through each photo or each person more in depth. Another thing that both Natsi and I really love is Instagram Stories has so many fun engagement features like polls, quizzes, question boxes, stuff like that. You can get feedback from customers, you can play fun games with them, you can do ask me anythings, like it's really fun, and you'll be surprised that, you know, people will actually really love to engage with that kind of stuff. So X, which is formerly Twitter, I have to say I don't use this one much, but let's say you're an author or a poet, or you really create just a lot of like written content. This might be a platform for you. There's also like other ones that are emerging, but for now, Twitter has the most users, so it might be the most beneficial. You can also do quizzes and polls and things like that. There's also TikTok, which again is kind of on the maybe on the outs, we're not sure, but it's definitely a very, very fun platform to use. Their algorithm is a lot more forgiving than the others. You can start a TikTok account tonight, and if you post correctly, like, you know, have a strategy, have a daily posting schedule, you could have 1 million followers by like next month. It's crazy. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I actually, with anything that I do, I just bought a bread maker, for example, and or I'll be accurate. My mom gave me her old bread maker, and I was like, I want to learn how to make this and that. And I went on TikTok, just searched bread maker, and there was hundreds of videos just ready to go. Very casual, people in their kitchens, they're just wearing like whatever. It's not as polished as Instagram. And Facebook is really like a pay to play at the end of the day. Like a lot of people who really, really do well on Facebook, they'll have a very micro niche community, kind of like a Swaya or Change Labs or some of the other clients I work with, or they'll use ads to really reach a lot of people. Whereas TikTok, it's kind of value based in their algorithm. So you can kind of just keep making content, and you very well may have, you know, the next viral hit, whatever that may be. And then YouTube is its own small community on the internet. A lot of people have been doing YouTube since it started, and there's YouTubers. Like I heard that when you ask little kids what they want to be when they grow up, more and more they're saying YouTubers. And it's today's, like, what is it called? The Tonight Show. Like you can go on, you can talk about whatever you want. You can go as in depth into editing your content and making it look very, very high end. But there is a sweet spot on YouTube of like low quality versus like high end quality, where so long as your mic is good and your camera is good and you have good content, people love the authenticity of just a person in front of a camera talking about something they're passionate about. You can also use the affiliate links and shopping links directly on YouTube to help promote your products. And YouTube influencers across the board, great to work with, in my opinion, so long as you don't expect too much out of them. Like maybe say, oh, it would be great if you'd post 1 or 2 things or whatever, but they have to maintain the authenticity with their people. So I think they'll know how best to communicate out to their communities, you know? But yeah, okay. So then nearing the end, I just wanted to recap because that was a ton of information. The main 4 points I kind of want to get across is to engage with your audience. You can do that by responding to comments, asking questions, just aim to start conversations with people online. You could consider doing paid ads during the holidays to start to get a feel for what that is and the effectiveness of an ad strategy that you control. Like you're not paying a magazine to show your ads to some people that may buy. Instagram or social media is a little bit different, where you're saying, I've defined somebody that I know is very likely to buy, and showing them an ad 2, 3 times, like you can learn a lot from that. You can boost your visibility, you can attract new customers, and that's all through targeted campaigns. The next part is having a follow-up plan after you do your whole holiday strategy. Have some sort of plan to retain those new customers by just following up with them, posting and saying like, you know, we've recovered from the holiday season. Thank you all for your sales. Or if you have really high-end products that, you know, maybe you're a sculptor and your sculptures are like $12,000 each, you'll definitely want to send your collectors an email or something to say, thank you for all your support this year. I have a lot more shows coming up. You know, it's a great time to promote whatever you have going on next. And then be consistent and authentic year-round. You'll want to post regularly, show your brand's personality, try new things, because ultimately that will all build trust with your customers and potential customers. And I guess right before we open up the Q&A, I will show, this is my website. It's just hodzamanagement.com. Hodza in Navajo relates to wisdom, so that's why I named my company that. If you scroll all the way down at the bottom, I have this little freebies thing, and then you can put your email in there, and Nati and I will send them to you. So yeah, that is my presentation. I'd love to open it up for Q&A now if you have any questions. I actually did pretty well on time. I didn't think I would go until 12. So let's see. Ooh, we have some questions in the comments.
Yeah.
Let's see. How do you find out on your social media accounts when there is the highest traffic? So that way we can schedule new posts and get the most exposure, for example, Facebook and Instagram. For me, I use SEMrush, which actually shows, I might be able to pull it up. There is a feature on there that shows who's active, but I would imagine that it's the same across the board for any, I don't know exactly where it is right now, for any account, because mostly people are like up around 7 a.m. So anytime after around 9:30, there's going to be a lot more people who are, you know, getting ready for work. So between those hours, people are kind of checking their phones once or twice. And then during lunchtime, it kind of surges again. And then after work, it surges again. In order to get the most eyes on the post throughout the day, we've noticed posting in the morning really works. But if it's like a very timely post and maybe it just happened, like let's say you're at Santa Fe Indian Market and you win best of show, it's okay to make the post right then and there. So let's see the next one. I shared that post and it did well. Aw, thank you. TikTok is hit or miss with its regulations on posts. I get flagged for copyright violations on my own content. That is something that happens. That's part of like the difficulty in just doing any sort of social media marketing, is because these larger platforms have so many users and so much content going out all the time that like weird glitches will happen all the time. For example, right before we got on this call, I was preparing all of the things I was going to pull up, and I got a message from Facebook saying that I needed to do something with my access for Change Labs. And I was like, why now? Like, this has never happened before except now. Luckily, I could just skip for later and it didn't affect the call, but that is something that is frustrating. If it's a copyright violation on the music, maybe trying to use popular clips might work, because obviously those other creators are not getting copyright violation flags and stuff. But if it's video, yeah, maybe that is something that you can escalate to TikTok and just keep saying that this is my content, you know, go through those channels and those platforms, because usually they'll be really like harsh in the beginning, and then they might kind of calm down once they realize like, okay, this account is getting flagged like constantly for no reason. So next question is, I have 5 social media accounts and I find it super hard to manage them all with content. Example, I've been working on a new feature film and doing my best to promote it on my social media accounts, but it takes so much time to do and to respond to all the feedback. I have a movie to complete and I don't have much time to respond. That's where a tool might come in handy. Like, just so that you don't have to invest any money, I would suggest using Meta Business Suite, because they have a content scheduler. They have all the replies and stuff all in one place. And I wish I could pull it up, but I didn't get permission from my clients to show their back end kind of stuff, but it does all have it all in one place. And scheduling the content is very helpful. If at all possible, creating content in bulk and then scheduling it out, and maybe just taking like 30 minutes at the end of the day to respond to comments. That might be a good strategy to like front load a lot of work, but then, just have to maintain it as you're going along. It is definitely really hard. We try to respond to people within 48 hours at the latest, but you're right, it does take a lot of time. Those are all the questions on the chat. Is there anything that you would like to add, either Raquel or Nati?
Yeah, I would like to say that related to the question that we had before about how can you get to know what are the best times for your posts. When you work with the Meta Business Suite and you're going to schedule your posts for whether it's Instagram or Facebook, Meta will recommend the best time for you to schedule your posts, and lots of tools have that option. It's just not just Meta, but also SEMrush, Later, Hootsuite. All of them, they will always recommend you what's the best time of the day for you to publish. Yeah, that's it.
No, yeah, thank you for that. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, it's been fun being on this journey of managing kind of large social media accounts with very active followers. It's really heartwarming when the feedback is really good, because I work with a lot of nonprofits. So obviously I want to foster very collaborative and community-based, authentic voice for each of my clients. And so far, I feel like we've done pretty well in doing that. And yeah, it's just fun connecting with people online and kind of building a voice for something that you really care about in the world. So that's kind of the perspective that I have on why having a social media account is important. And like I said, I don't see very many native accounts doing ads or, having a real coherent, strong strategic plan for their social media. So whenever someone does it, it really, really does attract a lot of attention, because it is so time consuming, and people, really do understand that you're investing in your business and you care and you want to reach more people. So definitely try it out.
All right. And then I do just want to add to, Cheyenne mentioned it earlier in her presentation that here at the hub, and then soon to be our future hub, our location in Shiprock, we do have marketing tools that you can use to put towards your social media content. So that's what we use a lot of our tools here, of photos of a product that you'll see on our various platforms that we've posted so far. I know that we posted like our mirror bottles that we have, our Yeti bottles, a lot of our t-shirts and other products that we have here for sale physically at the space here. And for those pictures of those products, we have the light box here. And like Cheyenne said, that we just use a really good camera phone. Most camera phones have really great clarity now, so we didn't have to put too much into creating that content. And then Cheyenne and Nati were great about putting together the rest of the posts and scheduling those out, and creating a lot of excitement about our product, especially for those who aren't all familiar about what ChangeLab is all about. Sometimes I get folks here who are interested in our building because it's different from what they see of the rest of the what in the rest of the community here. And it's through social media a lot of the times that they learn about us, and they see our building and they recognize different members on our team, they recognize different products or even different artworks that we have here in the building. So it's a lot of generating interest and excitement and curiosity with at least our audience that we work with. I know we've learned a lot through this year of working with Hudsa, with Cheyenne and Lacey, I'm sorry, Cheyenne and Nati. And if you guys are ever needing any support, our team here does offer coaching in those areas. If you're interested in bringing your products here and see what working with a light box entails, we have that here as well. You can definitely feel free to let us know that you're interested in this tool and you might want to invest in it, or maybe you want to just capture content for your social media. We can definitely help you in that area and even provide coaching as far as different, like advising different tools that you can utilize, different strategies, connecting you with different professionals, especially other Native professionals like Cheyenne here, to get the support that you need, especially in this area, because managing social media, like Shoni mentioned earlier, is a lot of work. It was a lot of work with ChangeLab. That's why we brought in Cheyenne and Nati here. So I think if there aren't any other questions, we can close out. We do have a couple other events coming up through the rest of this month. You can check out our Facebook, our Facebook, our socials, our website for everything coming up. I think we can, oh yeah, Cheyenne dropped their contact information, their website for their contact information if you want to reach out to their team for any more support. Thank you so much, Cheyenne and Nati, for your presentation and taking the time to be with us today and sharing all this really great information. If you have any follow-up questions on either side, Cheyenne, Nati, and then the rest of our audience here, you can definitely feel free to reach out to each other or reach out to us here at ChangeLabs. We're open Monday to Friday, 9 to 4. We will not be open tomorrow, actually, because we do have one event, but next week we'll be open. And feel free to give us a call too on our number. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a really great rest of your day, rest of your week, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.